The head of the CFTC just said the quiet part out loud. If Congress won't write the rules for crypto, he will. One of the most powerful financial regulators in America basically told lawmakers, move or we do this ourselves. Now everyone is staring at one date, September 15th, the Clarity Act's big moment in the Senate. And every channel is running the same tired script. Pass equals moon, fail equals disaster. Two outcomes, pick one. But here's what almost nobody caught. While the whole crypto world was watching Washington fight, the chair of the CFTC, the man who actually oversees these markets, stepped up and said something that should change how you look at this entire situation. If Congress can't get it done, the regulators will write the rules themselves. Because in his words, the current mess is really bad for business, and clarity is coming one way or another. So sit with that for a second. For years, we've been told XRP is stuck until the politicians finally act. What if that was never the full story? What if the rules are coming either way, and the only real question is how they arrive? Because if that's true, that September 15th isn't the finish line everyone thinks it is. It's just one road, and there's a second road most people don't even know exists. Let me show you the whole board. Quick note before we start. This is not financial advice, and it's not political. I'm not here to root for a team. I'm here to give you the facts straight so you can make your own call. Any scenario I mention is an opinion, not a promise. So protect your family, do your own research, and don't let anyone rush you, including me. All right, let's get into it. So let's start with what actually happened, because the headlines are doing that thing again where they take something real and blow it into something it isn't. Here's the real news. On August 7th, the Senate Majority Leader John Thune filed something called cloture on the Clarity Act, and the Senate now has a date locked in, Tuesday, September 15th, 2:15 in the afternoon, Washington time. That part is 100% real. There is finally a date. But now I have to be the guy who tells you the truth, because that's the deal on this channel. That vote on September 15th, it is not the vote that passes the Clarity Act. I know that's not what the thumbnails are screaming, so let me explain what it actually is in plain English. Think of a bill like a car trying to get onto a highway. Cloture is basically the vote on whether they're even allowed to pull onto the on-ramp. That's it. It's a vote to move forward, to maybe start debating the bill. It doesn't pass it. It doesn't even begin the real debate yet. It just decides if they can proceed. So when you see confirmed, it's set, finally, the honest version is this. What's set is the date for a procedural step, an important one, sure, the furthest this bill has ever gotten actually. But it is a first door, not the finish line. And there are several more doors after it. Now why does this matter to you as an XRP holder? Because this is exactly the kind of thing that gets people hurt. They hear confirmed, they get emotional, they make a move based on a headline that didn't mean what they thought it meant. I don't want that to be you. So here's the real question. If September 15th is just the first door, what are the actual odds it even opens? Because that number is a lot more revealing than any headline. And honestly, it surprised me. Let me show you. So let's talk numbers, honestly, without the pom-poms and without the doom. To get through that first door on September 15th, the bill needs 60 votes in the Senate. Now here's the math that matters. One side holds 53 seats, so even if every single one of them votes yes, and that is not a given either, they'd still need at least 7 votes from the other side of the aisle to reach 60. 7. That's the number to remember. And getting those 7 is not simple, because there are real disagreements still on the table. Things like ethics rules, how to handle illicit finance, questions around stablecoin rewards, and pieces tied to the agriculture side. This isn't drama, it's just unfinished business. Serious people on both sides are still hammering it out. So, what do the people who actually forecast this stuff think? Galaxy Research, a serious name, cut their odds of this bill becoming law this year from about 50% down to 30%. And over on the prediction markets, where people literally put money on the outcome, it's been sitting even lower, somewhere around 1 in 5. Let that land for a second. The folks betting cold hard cash are saying it's more likely than not that this doesn't fully pass this year. Now, before you spiral, hold on, because I want to be fair in both directions. This bill already cleared the House with a strong bipartisan number. It got out of the Senate Banking Committee with votes from both sides. So the idea that nobody wants this is just false. The support is real. The timeline is the problem. It's a crowded calendar. It's heading into an election season, and time is the enemy here, not the idea. So here's where I want to challenge you a little. Everyone's arguing about whether the odds are 30% or 50%. But what if you're watching the wrong scoreboard entirely? Because there's a second thing happening at the exact same time, and it barely made the news. That's next, and it's the part that flips this whole story. So here's the piece that got buried under all the September 15th noise. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. While Congress has been stuck in the mud for over a year, the regulators did not just sit around waiting. The two agencies that actually oversee this space, the SEC and the CFTC, have been quietly moving on their own, building their own crypto agenda, working on rules for things like custody, trading, and tokenized assets, without waiting for a single vote in the Senate. In other words, there are two tracks running at the same time. Track 1 is the loud one, the Clarity Act, the September 15th vote, the drama everyone's watching. And track 2 is the quiet one, the regulators just doing the work themselves, in the background, right now. And here's the thing most people completely miss. XRP doesn't actually care which track it comes from, it just needs clear rules. Whether those rules arrive stamped by Congress or written by the agencies, the outcome XRP holders have wanted for years, a clear line between what counts as a commodity and what counts as a security, can come from either road. Quick pause. I want you in on this one. Before today, did you even know the regulators had a second track going, completely separate from the Clarity Act? Type yes or no in the comments. I'm genuinely curious, because I think this is the single most overlooked part of this entire story, and the comments always tell me who's really paying attention. Now, I can already hear some of you thinking, okay, but is that second track actually real, or is that just you being optimistic to make me feel better? So let me not just tell you it's real. Let me show you the exact words from the exact person in charge, because what the head of the CFTC said out loud is stronger than anything I could make up. All right, this is the part I really wanted to get to. Plan B. Let's start with the man himself. Mike Selig is the chair of the CFTC. That is not a small role. That's one of the two agencies that would directly oversee crypto markets. And in an interview, he said it about as plainly as a regulator ever will. If Congress can't get this done, the regulators will end up writing all the rules themselves. He called the current situation, this messy patchwork of different state rules, really bad for business. And he said clear federal standards are absolutely critical for certainty and for protecting people. Read between those lines. That is the top commodities regulator in the country saying, we would prefer Congress do this, but if they won't, we are not going to leave this industry sitting in limbo. We'll act. And he's not alone. The SEC, under its own chairman, has been pushing in the same direction. And it's not just talk from officials. Grayscale, one of the biggest names in crypto asset management, put out a really grounded take on this. Their head of research basically said, look, crypto ran for something like 17 years with no comprehensive market structure law at all, and it survived and grew the entire time. He expects the SEC to fill in the gaps through its own rulemaking, especially on things like tokenized securities. And he pointed out we already got a separate federal framework for stablecoins passed into law, so the machine is already moving. Even the analysts at Bernstein said something similar, that if the Clarity Act stalls, it could actually push the SEC and CFTC to speed up their own crypto rules. Not slow them down, speed them up. Now I promised you honesty, so here's the other side, and it matters. A law is stronger than an agency rule. That's just true. When Congress writes something into law, it's durable. It's hard to undo. When an agency writes a rule, a future administration can come in and change it, or it can get challenged in court. And there's a real risk that without clear laws, some builders and some capital drift overseas to countries that already sorted this out. So Plan B is not as clean or as permanent as a proper law. Anyone telling you the bill doesn't matter at all is overselling it just as badly as the hype crowd. But here's what you actually walk away with. The choice was never simply pass or die. The real picture is this. XRP is getting clearer rules on a fast track or a slow track. Congress is the fast, durable version. The regulators are the backup that keeps moving no matter what. And that, to me, is a very different feeling than sitting there on September 15th with your entire thesis riding on one single vote. So let's bring it all the way home. What does this actually mean for you, right now, holding XRP down here near its lowest levels in a year? First, the honest part, because I'll always give you that. September 15th might clear that first vote. It might not. It could even get pushed again, because that has happened with this bill before, more than once. So please, do not make an emotional move based on a countdown clock. If a vote passing is your entire reason to do something, you're trading a headline, not a thesis, and headlines get people hurt. But here's the reframe, and I mean this one. Everything we just talked about is happening while XRP is quiet and beaten down. Congress is inching forward, the regulators are building the backup, and separately from all of it, XRP keeps getting more real by the week. The ETFs are still here, the activity on the ledger is still growing. The building didn't stop for Washington, and it won't start or stop because of one Tuesday in September. Now, does any of this guarantee the price goes up? No. Let me be crystal clear one more time. There are no guarantees here. The bill could stall. The market could stay ugly longer than any of us want. Rules take time, competition is real, and nobody, me included, knows the timing. Anyone who acts certain about any of this is just guessing with a straight face. So what do you actually do? Honestly, nothing dramatic. You stay informed, you don't panic on the red days, and you don't chase the green ones. You never ever risk money your family depends on. Please, protect your household first, do your own research, and take your time, because if this thesis is right, it is not going to be decided or ended by a single procedural vote. What I want you to leave with is this. The next time someone yells that one date is do or die for XRP, you'll know better. There are two roads to clarity, not one. And XRP is quietly sitting right at the crossroads of both. This has been Crypto with BHW. We're early. The foundation is being poured, and I'll see you in the very next one.